What's up, guys? My name's Ty Murphy. I am the founder and president of Greenside Cigars. If you're watching this video, welcome to the team. This is a new 5-part video series that we are going to be rolling out for you guys for some sales enablement for new reps and new hires. It's going to take you everything from the story of how we got started to how we position ourselves in the market, what our competitors we're seeing in the market, and basically how to become successful and how to sell Greenside. So I hope you enjoy it. We're going to get started here with the first video of this series, which is going to explain exactly our story and my experience and how we got started and how we came up with the idea for the Greenside Cigar Company. So it all goes back to where I was born and raised. I grew up in Overland Park, Kansas, in a neighborhood that had a golf course that ran through it, the Overland Park Golf Course. And one Saturday in July in 2018, we decided to head over to OP, our neighborhood course, and play with three of my closest buddies growing up, right? And we're having a good time. It's July, it's a Saturday, we're drinking a little bit, we're having fun. We make the turn. We head to the back nine, which is the OP West course, and we get to what would be our 13th hole, but the fourth hole on the back nine, which is a kind of a short par three, or par four, sorry. And with the three buddies that I'm with, we're probably 18, 20, 24 handicap golfers. We're not great back in 2018. I'd be shocked if we had somebody that was under a 16 handicap. And so if you're a golfer in that range, when you remember if you get started, you don't make a whole lot of birdies. So you might make one birdie in a whole summer, and that's probably it. That's a good year or a good season. So we're out there hacking around. We're all over par. We're shooting mostly bogeys and double bogeys, but we pull up to our 13th hole here, and we all four of us end up striping one down the fairway, hitting our approach shots pretty close. I think one guy was off the green, and ultimately ended up making 3 out of 4 of us ended up making birdie on the same hole, right? So now we're feeling really good. So we get down to the next tee, and we're getting ready to hit this long par three hole, probably getting back to making double bogey, especially with the water on the right here. And just before we tee off and we're waiting for the green to clear ahead of us, one of my buddies pulls out his quote unquote birdie stogie. Now, it wasn't our birdie stogie, it wasn't the birdie stogie, but it was a stogie and a cigar that he always carried in his golf bag, so that any time in that summer or that year that he would make his birdie, he would celebrate it with the cigar, and he called it his birdie stogie. So, of course, he cuts it, lights it, brings it to the tee box, and me and the two other guys at Birdie kind of looked at each other like, man, that smells great. There's no cart girl nearby. We couldn't shotgun beers to celebrate, couldn't take birdie shots or anything like that. But we're like, man, that cigar smells amazing, especially outside today, golfing. We birdie too. We'd like to get down on that. Do you have any extra? Can we have one? And he stiffed us. He only had one. He says, normally I carry 4 in my bag at times like these, but I never make 4 in a year. So this one's got to be 3 or 4 years old. It's my last one I got left. I'm sorry. I don't have any birdie stogies for you, even though you made birdie. So we proceed to move on and play the rest of our round. And if we would have taken a birdie shot or shotgun a beer, it would have lasted like this. It would have been more punishing than it was really a reward. And 3 or 4 holes later, we're back to making our double and triple bogeys, and this guy's still celebrating that birdie he made 3 or 4 holes ago in the smell of that cigar and that aroma. So a couple days go by, maybe a week later, I'm driving down the street, 127th. I'm passing through the course that we were playing, a weekend or two ago, and it reminded me how, frankly pissed off I was that I got stiffed on a birdie stogie when I made my one birdie of the whole year, right? So I got to thinking, what's wrong with this situation? Well, we weren't really advertised cigars as well as we were, beer and alcohol at the pro shop. So we didn't even think to buy or bring cigars just in case something would happen or we're feeling, confident that day. So there was a disconnect, most of the time when you go in the club, even though the pro shop looks real nice, they got the cigars tucked back in some wooden humidor you can't see. So they're out of sight, out of mind. You don't even think about them. And we thought, we're not big cigar smokers, but wouldn't it be nice if there were cigars that were tailored to us, to golfers, so that we knew which cigar to pick out and maybe we could use them to celebrate with, right? In the event we're having a good round and we're feeling good and we want to have a cigar on the golf course. And why would they not be better marketed inside the pro shop like booze is. Um, so we set out to kind of fix that problem so that we never forgot to make sure we had cigars in our golf bag the next time we golfed. So Greenside was kind of set out to cement that bond between golfers and the cigar industry, right? And there's two people that kind of benefit from this. One, the golf course benefits, right? Because they can increase sales and quality of the cigars and margins and make better marketing, which makes it easier to sell. They can advertise and display them better, and it helps educate their customers so they have a better experience, right? On the golfer end, right, we're going to try and deliver a more enjoyable golf slash cigar experience, helping golfers pick the right cigar for them, right? It's more relatable, more educational, more memorable, has some gamification to it, so it makes it more fun. So that's originally what we had kind of set out to do. So in all, if anybody else out there listening to this video is an entrepreneur, right? The first thing you think of is, hey, I've got this problem. I think I've got this solution on what I want to do. Is there anybody out there already doing what I'm trying to do? So we go into some research. Is anybody building kind of golf branded cigars? Well, not really, not nice ones at least. These were the only two that we kind of found that were out there. There's this kind of cartoonish one, which I wouldn't take very seriously. And then they have this other one from Placinia called the Driver or Cigar Golf Club. Don't really know what that's about. I've never seen them in a golf course. So I didn't see them as a big threat. And it wasn't really what we were trying to do. We were trying to gamify the scores, the birdie stogie, and become more relatable in that sense. So then we also look at, okay, well, we'll need a distributor. We'll have to get into these golf courses. How are we going to do it? We're going to do it ourselves, or we're going to partner with somebody else. Well, going and looking at what services we had offered to us to distribute our products from, they weren't really changing and breaking away from the traditional, big clunky wooden humidor that has to sit in the cabinet somewhere far off, not right next to a POS system. So we thought, let's become the manufacturer and the distributor. Let's not deal with these guys, and let's kind of change the whole way we go about getting our cigars in the golf courses. So if we were to do that, the next big thing is you want to say, what's the opportunity at stake here? How much money can we make from capitalizing on this? And if you look at, if there's 15,000 golf courses at the time I did the research, I think there's 17,000 today. It's over 4,000 different cigar lounges in the U.S. There's a whole nother market if we wanted to get into grocery stores and liquor stores. But if you say, hey, listen, I put all these markets together, if I get 100% adoption rate, right, and my average box price to these courses is, $130 or so, and they carry about 3 boxes and they reorder, from me 3 or 4 times a year, right? I'm looking at probably a $50 million market cap per year. It gets even bigger if you want to expand into the supermarkets and liquor stores. So obviously there's plenty of opportunity there for us. So without hitting any real hurdles, we kind of proceed to, let's get some product research, right? We got to learn a lot more about cigars, and we need to learn about factories and where we're going to get all the assets and the labels and everything that goes into making a cigar. So in August of 2018, after we kind of had that golf round in July, we decided to incorporate the company and start spending some money and researching for products, right? And so from about August till almost December, this was the process. Communicating with cigar factories all around the Dominican and the Caribbean and the Honduran, Nicaraguan area, Costa Rica, right? Finding out who makes the best cigars for us, who would be willing to make a cigar for us and put our labels on it. And then where do we get the cigar boxes, and where do we get the packaging, and where do we get all this, right? So we kind of source all those manufacturers out of China, and everything kind of arrives here in Lenexa, Kansas. Where as the first year went, we put it all together ourselves because we weren't hitting volumes that we needed to become, minimums at these factories or these manufacturing warehouses for them to do it for us. So we had to piece it together ourselves. And what we came up with was, the first Birdie Stogie, right? This is what we envisioned that fix this, the ultimate celebratory cigar for golf, right? You never tee off without one in your bag again, just in case you make a birdie and you want to celebrate. So this was the Birdie Stogie. This was kind of the price points we set. This was a description and what we all put together. And the first thing we did was we ran right down to our local golf course here, Falcon Ridge. It's where I live on hole 8 here. Happened to know the GM and said, "Hey, would you take a meeting with me? I think I got a new cigar idea I would like to sell in the clubhouse." Said, "Sure." Came on by and I met with him at this table right here down the right, far right. And we talked and I said, "Hey, I'd love for you guys to sell the Birdie Stogie here." And what he told me was basically, "Hey, I like where you're going. This is a great idea. However, I don't want to just sell one type of cigar. We'd like to have some options for our members. So, could you go back to the drawing board, maybe bring us 2 or 3 other cigars, and if you got a lineup, we'll ditch our old cigar provider and we'll go exclusively with you guys and give you a shot for the year." I said, "Fantastic." So when I thought I was building one product, I ended up having to build actually 6 is what I ended up launching with in 2018. Uh, First golf season being 2019. So obviously we kind of just started working our way down. Pars or the birdies are best, so let's make a par cigar. Okay, let's go a little bit further. We actually made our bogey stogie next, followed by our mulligan, and then we got into a little specialty with the 3-putt, which is a sugar tip. So we ended up launching in 2019 with just these 5 brands. Most courses carrying the birdie, par, and bogey. Some of them carried the mulligan, and some carried the 3-putt. Some carried all 5. Um, and I went back to Steve Price, who was the GM at Falcon Ridge at the time, and told him, "Hey, here's what we got. Are you willing to buy some? 3, 5, how many you want?" He says, "We'll take all 5. But what are you going to store them in? What are you going to put them in? Because when we get rid of our old cigar provider, we're going to need a humidor to keep them fresh." So back to the drawing board we went, and we kind of engineered our own acrylic 3-slot humidors. This is our large humidor display. It holds 60 cigars, which is perfect for 3 boxes because 20 cigars come in each box. And we did some testing all winter long on how long these would survive, keep them fresh. And turns out they do a much better job than the wooded traditional ones because the acrylic does not absorb the moisture. Plus, they're sleeker, they're slim. You can put them right by a POS system, point of sale system, in the clubhouse so that people have to reach over them and they see the cigars and it reminds them to buy one. Very easy, low maintenance, low cost display. And so we said, you know what? We'll if you buy 5 boxes, we'll give you these 2 displays and we'll get them going. And literally a week later, we had our cigars from this table, and you can kind of see them in the picture in the back, displayed back on the counter within the food and beverage bar. And that was our first course, right? And it just so happened in that off season, that winter, that one course that we lived on actually got bought up by a much larger management company that was coming into Kansas City called Great Life. And they had a total of 30 courses. And because Steve Price, who was the GM at Falcon Ridge, had ran that course so well, they turned to him to become the director of all operations for all 30 courses. So I get a call from Steve just a week later. I'm thinking he's saying, "Hey, these things aren't selling very well. I need you to come pick them back up. We're going to go a different direction." And he actually told me, "Hey, they're selling really well. We actually just got bought by, and merged with 30 other courses, and I'm kind of owning that relationship for all 30 courses. Would you be able to take on 29 more?" And I said, "Absolutely." So then we started distributing out to all 30 courses, and that's you got 30 courses in one market. There's probably only 10 to 20 left over within Kansas City, so it was very easy to go pick them off, saying, "Hey, you guys are kind of the only ones that aren't doing it, so you better get on board because this is the newest, biggest, greatest thing, and everybody's raving about it." Right? Sell them. And we ended up closing, I think, what was it, with 44 golf courses, and we tried 4 grocery stores, some hen houses around Kansas City. So we had a total of 48 locations for that first golf season of 2019 after having the idea in 2018. I think we sold just over 6,500 cigars. And it was a great year, great learning experience. We got to go do a PGA show in Las Vegas. We've got to meet some celebrities. We had, Clay Thompson, a picture of him lighting up one of our double bogeys. We got one of the greatest quotes of all time from a doubter or disbeliever from a GM at Deer Creek. And when we put him side by side with some of the traditional brands he had, he was real skeptic that we would sell, and we actually outsold his so much that he had to discount the traditional brands because everybody was coming in and buying the golf branded ones, which was ours. So Absolutely fantastic from just a traditional experience to wanting to solve a problem and making sure, we weren't stogieless ever on a tee box again, especially after a made birdie putt, to then bringing out that one product and really carrying it and seeing it to life and getting it into the market and to the golf courses. So that's it for the first video. I think I capped it right here around 15 minutes. The next video, video 2, should tell you exactly who is Greenside, who makes up Greenside, what are we, how do we define ourselves.